responsibility for it, and it was, it was just a little teaser, a little way to, a little way to create some buzz and create some headlines and in a practical way, kind of test the waters, I guess, to see how people felt about that. I wouldn't have done it. And, if I hadn't have thought that there was the chance that we could make it happen. Now it's just up to the offices, the parties involved. It's like making a prize fight. It's as though if we can all get on the same page and make the match, then I'll be there.
Sure. Is he contractually obligated to New Japan at all, or is he kind of?
I don't think so. Muda's he's kind of. I was talking about the Rock and Roll Express before, like kind of like, that's when you're a real legend, when you can literally, like, you can be not under contract anywhere, and that's actually the best thing for you, like, to just, because you have such legendary status that you can literally be on NWA and AEW at the same time. It could be the WWE Hall of Fame and like, always a Ring of Honor, New Japan, all in the space of 1 year, and it's like no one else can do that, but Ricky and Robert can, and I'm sure Muda could too.
Yeah, I remember Jushin Liger did that. He showed up at Ring of Honor and then NXT like 2 weeks later, and it's like I guess once you earn that, once you hit that status symbol, you really can do whatever.
Well, they're kind of they're a dying breed. The guys that call their own shots. And that's something that I've, guys like myself and Marty and some others out there. That's kind of the way we see ourselves still. Like, I'm with the NWA, obviously, and but Marty's a free agent now, and who's to say that he doesn't just decide, hey, I can, you know what I'm saying? Like, you can punch your own ticket. It's there's a lot to be said. It's like I've said this before to a couple of interviews, but I think that I hope if anything that the last couple of years might have helped show sort of the future generation of wrestlers that your goal should be to draw money, not to get signed. You know what I mean? Like, your goal should, like, everyone just, I was one of them. I want to get signed by the WWE. Like, that's all I want. I just want a contract, and it's like, well, what kind of contract? Like, and you see some of the contracts that some organizations are handing out and giving to people, and you just go, that's worse than a contract. Like, that's worse than having no contract. Like, because this is not, you only get paid if you wrestle, and now you can't wrestle anywhere else. Like, why would you sign that? Like, and so that,
and then you're locked into what they tell you to do and how they tell you to do it.
Right. And that to me that doesn't seem like a great deal, and it's, I think that, like I said, that's where my advice is. Your goal should be to try and draw money, not to get a contract, because if you can make money, and look, we've got our pay-per-view this weekend, and it's exclusively on Fight TV. Well, you've seen, there are many independent promotions that run pay-per-views on Fight TV. I can tell you, Marty and I had serious discussions about running our own pay-per-view facing each other, just doing it ourselves, and basically saying we're doing this, and doing it in the UK, because Marty's contract at the time, precluded, it didn't, he was free to do what he wanted in the UK. And, when we were having this hypothetical, I was, I don't know if I was under a sort of a proper deal yet with the NWA, but so it was kind of like, we were just having that kind of hypothetical discussion. We were going, we could do it. We could book the match. We could book the match and book the pay-per-view ourselves, and run the pay-per-view and split it. Like a prize fight, like two prize fighters. And, and I just thought about that, and I was like, that's a real thing that guys can do now, so.
For sure. And Fight TV,
and people coming out of the WWE, or, people moving on from somewhere, they might, I kind of hope that maybe some of them decide to sort of ride free agency for a little bit, you know what I mean? And prove that concept and say, hey, once, first time ever, this guy versus this guy, see it for $9.99 on Fight TV or, whatever price you want to charge, right? And it's like guys can make a real healthy payday for one night instead of sort of doing the rounds on all the big indies and, hawking the 8x10s. Look, I've done it. You know what I mean? And it's like there are ways and means now.
That kind of harkens back to the territory days then. I mean,
yes.
When you have... Now, do you think there would be promotions that'd be hesitant to book these talents in, for example, a title match because they don't want champion A going to, a different territory and losing over there? Do you think that would cause any issue there? Or do you think we're kind of past that in this stage of the game as pro wrestling?
Well, that just depends on the individual, I think. I think that just depends, and I think that just depends on, whether the parties involved are thinking about business or just thinking about being a mark. Like that's the reality of it, isn't it? Like I've had I've had, we've had bookings, where someone's been like, we'd like you to come in and wrestle our champion, and I go, are you sure? You know what I mean? Because it's like, are you know what I mean? What's the, what's the benefit of that?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And it's kind of like, it sounds good. You know what I mean? When you like, but that's, and then, and unless there's a definitive kind of plan or a reason, it's kind of like, you kind of know who you're dealing with then, because you sort of go, okay, you're not, you haven't really thought that through. And not to say that that's, it's never a possibility, right? But it's like people would always, when we were heavily involved with Ring of Honor, people would always go like, why don't we have Jay Lethal versus Nick Aldis, champion versus champion? It's like, all right, what happens to the guy who loses?
Right, then what?
It's like, come on, guys, so yeah. But anyway, like I said, it's interesting that we've kind of gone in that direction on this conversation, and I want to be clear on this. Like we ended our sort of say relationship. We didn't end it with Ring of Honor, right? Like we just decided, we just kind of cooled off. Like we had, everything was being done on a handshake. So I don't want to suggest that, I was promised a match at Madison Square Garden and stuff like that. But
right, there's nothing formal. It was just discussion.
We had and we had, but we felt like we had really brought a lot of stuff to the table, and then our whole sort of point on that was like, you're getting, and look, I don't mean to toot my own horn here, but you're getting a world-class talent for like a per night, you're only having to pay me per night. You ain't going to pay me a salary because you're paying the NWA. You're getting these money matches, right? Like approved it with Kody, and then sold out center stage with PJ, and then had Marty, you know what I mean? And I was kind of like, you're getting me, you're getting an asset in this, deal. And it's like, what we wanted was, we just wanted some moments, you know what I mean? And that was, I think for me, like I always kind of looked at the MSG thing as kind of my reward for doing All In, but I mean, don't get me wrong, I got payday for All In, but it was like, considering what I brought to that show and what we brought to that show, like my kind of thing was like, I think it would be fair and it'd be cool to get a title match at Madison Square Garden, so it's not like, I don't want to suggest that they promised anything, but it's just, in my mind, I felt like that was earned, and when that didn't happen, and again, this is just me talking. This isn't the view of Dave and Billy necessarily, but once that happened, I was the one who basically said, I'm kind of over this. We need to go prove, I need to keep going and proving who I am on my own. But yeah, like, the Kody match and all the stuff that we've done since, it just kind of helped me just kind of formulate that idea for, as far as the business. And I think that if more guys, and I've talked about this before, but like the prize fight approach to pro wrestling, it is so funny that you said it's like the territories thing, because so much of what we do, me and the NWA, is a modern version of that stuff. That's why we say traditional values, modern delivery, because it's like we have a studio show specifically designed to create value in our guys and sell pay-per-views, sell tickets, sell merchandise. But the you know, where it would have been on free TV, you know, back in the day. Now it's on YouTube, you know, and instead of just the people in that catchment area having to come to the Coliseum or whatever to buy a ticket to finally see this blow off between, you know, Harley Race and Terry Funk or something. It's Pete fans all over the world who have been watching our YouTube show now have to, you know, now get to see Nick Aldis and the Cowboy James Storm one-on-one after weeks and weeks of shit talking each other, and it's on Fight TV, you know, and it's sort of like it's the same concept, you know, it's just a modern delivery system. It's just our territory is the globe now, you know, our little, you know, NWA collection of fans.
Right, and they don't have to go to a house show to see it. Like you said, they could see it on YouTube. And speaking, and you know, we could of course go to NWA Power now. The way that the build up to you and James Storm has been, it's been done so well, and it's, you know, like you said, tradition, and that's kind of how what got people in the door to the NWA was the build up to the blow off. And this, you know, it's so different because other promotions, just the WWE, for example, I don't want to say it's overexposed, but when you have 9 hours of TV a week, plus all the social media and things like that, you see things over and over. 1 hour a week of NWA Power, it really becomes must-see television because you're not going to see your favorite wrestlers every single week, 5 times a week. When they're on TV, you're on YouTube, you take notice and you watch it. And this feud is built so well that there is so much interest in your title defense this Saturday. It really is, you know, it's kudos to you and the entire company. It's such a different feel than anything else out there. And I think the NWA has really done a great job in carving that niche out.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that. And, you know, really that's just a testament to our, you know, concept. There's a proof of concept, right? Like like I said before, we do things. I can't even speak to it because I've never experienced it before now, but it's what I like to imagine the you know, the way things were done in the old days, you know, as far as everyone kind of collaborates, like we all, you know, everybody says their piece and everybody, you know, sort of has their say on what they think the right way to go is with something. And as long as, you know, there's always going to be some egos involved. And trust me, with James and I, like, it's you know, there's some egos there. And like, you need that. That's what people pay to see, I think. And, sure. You know, and again, we've already smashed the buy rate for NWA 70, which was headlined by me and Kody too. We've already smashed that, and we've still got days left. So it's like,
really,
yeah, we've already surpassed the total buys for NWA 70.
Wow, that's fantastic. That's great.
So, you know, but it's a testament really to the way we do business, which is like, I think as long as everybody involved is on the same page as far as the principles are, what's going to make money, you know, because I think, I wish I could articulate this in a definitive way, but we're kind of forced to be like that, which is a benefit to us, right? Because we don't have a billionaire, you know, and that's not a shot at AEW, a veiled shot, you know, but before anyone says it, but we just don't have a huge budget, right?
Right, the disposable income.
We don't have a massive rights fee, you know, deal. We don't have, you know, guaranteed $500 million coming in before we even do, you know, let alone, you know, without even selling a ticket like WWE.
Right.
You know, it's like, so we kind of have to, it forces us to do what's right to make revenue for the business. And by the way, that kind of eliminates any suggestion or issue of me, you know, sort of making suggestions in my own interest. Because if we can all see, like, if we felt like there was, you know, if like, for example, if somebody came along and we go, this guy clearly needs to be in the next main event, you know, pay-per-view with you for the title. And, you know, if it was obvious to me from a business point of view and I didn't do it, it would be so clear to everyone involved because we're sort of forced we kind of make or break on these pay-per-views, right? Like that.
Yeah, I mean, the cliche is